Hi, I'm Allie X, and you are live in Limbo.
Wait until I catch my breath. Yeah, but you thought you got away with murder. Left me at a loss for the words. Just wait until I catch my breath. Wait until I catch my breath.
Hey Internet, it's Mehek from Live in Limbo, and I'm here at Wayhome with Allie X. How are you?
Excellent, thank you.
Very good. You kicked off day 3 today
Yeah,
at Wayhome, the opener at the Way Away stage, and caught some of your set. It was fantastic.
Thanks.
I love the dancey vibes going on there, and just that whole stage in general is so awesome. It's such a
Yeah,
great
it was a
space.
good energy.
Yeah, absolutely. What is it like to finally be able to start bringing your music out to a live setting and putting it out there and getting the fan reaction and seeing it play out?
It's really gratifying.
Mm-hmm.
This was an online project for a year until I started performing live, and years before that as I developed it. So to see that people actually like what I do is nice.
Absolutely, especially
In the flesh.
building it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, collXtion 1 has been out for a little while now, and it's gotten a great reaction overall, and Catch is a phenomenal song.
Oh, thanks.
What do you think it is about Catch specifically that sort of brought people in and pulled them into your world?
I think lyrically it's very strong. I think it's a good representation of me and what I'm about. There's a shininess to it, but also a darkness.
Mm-hmm.
And sound design wise, I think there's a lot of modern sounds, and then there's a lot of like vintage synths. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I think it's just a good song.
It is. It's a very good song. Speaking of good is actually one of my favorite. I know.
Oh, thanks.
I was working up to that one.
You're just waiting for it.
I like a good pun every now and then.
Yeah.
I really like that. But Good is one of my favorite songs. Can you tell me a little bit more about it?
Good was one of the last songs I wrote to make the cut for collXtion 1. It wasn't even really... I mean, I thought that I'd wrapped up all the songs, and then I wrote that one, and I was like, I want to include this.
Mm-hmm.
It's about somebody who's on a midnight drive to a sort of limbo, actually.
Okay.
Where they feel that they're no longer going to cause themselves or anyone else pain.
Mm-hmm.
Which is sad, I guess.
A little bit, but I feel like a lot of people do visit that space, and it does happen in everyone's emotional journey. As a songwriter, how do you kind of create that narrative? And I know obviously there are elements that draw from your real life, but I feel like collXtion is also has its own story inherently.
Yeah, that did happen without too much planning on my behalf, unless you count just sequencing tracks planning, because that's really all I did, and then the story was told. Wait, what was the question? I'm not paying attention there.
How do you sort of build those narratives? I know that it does come with personal elements, but there's also a bigger story there that kind of came together.
It's interesting because crafting a song for me has evolved somewhat. Because I am in this pop world. It's very common in pop writing, in a pop session, to go in and be like, guys, I've got this great concept. It's called Airborne.
Yeah.
And it's like, you love me so much that I'm airborne when I'm with you. And I tend to not write lyrics that way, which I think gets in my way in some ways, because record labels hear it and they're like, it's too weird, or it's not quite whatever. But the way that I approach a lyric is kind of subconsciously. I like to sort of mutter things, see what comes out, dig deep into my unconscious mind, and sort of find words that I like the sounds of. I don't know.
Yeah.
So for collXtion 2, it's really been a balance of that, which I'd say like Too Much to Dream. That's how I wrote that one. And also something like Old Habits or All the Rage, where it's like, clearly it's a title, it's clearly a concept, and we just,
keep building.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Sorry if that was like boring song analysis
no, not
for you
at
there.
all. Not at all. Everybody wants to know more about your process and, you know, the inspiration behind your music, and especially with collXtion 2, which is kind of en route from what I can see. There's a little few pieces out there.
It's in its unsolved phase right now, which means I'm releasing tracks for the fans, the X's, to hear and give me their feedback on, and to help me decide what's going to make the final tracks for collXtion 2.
Very nice. What are you hearing so far from your fan base?
Well, one of the songs I released was just a voice memo.
Okay.
It was for a song called Purge, and that was particularly interesting in this experiment because they were able to tell me, like, we hear it produced as a 4 on the floor dance song, or like as a ballad, or don't do anything to it. It should be just piano. So that was cool. And there'll be a lot more coming up.
I'm excited. I know a lot of fans are as well. So you're originally from Toronto, made the shift over to California.
Yeah.
How did, you know, when you sort of moved locales and you switched over to the West Coast vibe, how did that kind of alter or impact your songwriting approach?
When I arrived in Los Angeles, I felt like I was in a dream. I couldn't believe that I'd gotten there, that I'd managed to get myself there. Because it's not easy when you're broke to move cities, you know? And through sort of a chain of events and persistence and hard work, I managed to get myself a publishing deal.
Yeah.
And I was just living in this house there, and I was just like, here I am. And I was scared shitless that I was going to have to leave for some reason, so I just didn't stop working, and I wrote so many songs, a lot of which ended up on collXtion 1. Yeah. Does that answer your question?
Absolutely. It's always those times where you feel like there's something to lose that pushes you the hardest. I feel like.
I know, and I find myself like unconsciously trying to put myself in those situations sometimes just to give myself even more of a kick in the ass.
Yeah.
Which is stressful.
I understand. That's pretty much me throughout university. So yeah, absolutely. No, but I think there's a lot to be said about taking that risk. I'm always in awe of people who are willing to recognize how much they love something and push themselves and put themselves in scenarios that they don't know where it's going to take them.
I know. I think growth and comfortable don't really go together.
Yeah, not necessarily.
If you're going to grow, you're probably going to be uncomfortable at some point.
Absolutely.
At most points.
I think so. How does that, that whole process of being honest with yourself and putting yourself in those situations, how does that sort of help you navigate your own self-authenticity and uphold who you are in your process?
It's a fascinating question for me to think about, because do we need to wrap it up?
Yeah.
Okay. I was about to go on a whole tangent.
No, feel free to respond to that one.
That's an interesting question. I think it's different when you're an artist, you have to think about marketing and you have to think about making a business and a brand out of yourself. But then you also have to think about maintaining integrity and artistry and truthfulness, because people are smart.
Yeah.
And the people that aren't smart tend to go for things and then they just forget about it the next day. So I guess for me, it's just trying to find a balance, and always trying to draw from real things and then accentuate them and expand on them in terms of my brand.
Absolutely. I think that's that kind of storytelling that's bringing people in, and I'm excited to see things to continue to grow for you and for people to catch on, because your music is amazing.
Thank you so much.
I love it so much. So guys, make sure you check out Allie X. She is phenomenal. Great live. I gotta say, those vocals, girl.
Thanks, girl.
I was loving it. So thanks so much for chatting with us today.
My pleasure.